It's that time of week. Once again, the latest drop from Test Drive Unlimited has came. Classic car road trip week number 2. This open until the 20th of November. Pretty much a copy and paste of what we had last week, with a very special reward of that classic car road trip sticker, something I'm sure you're all looking forward to getting into. But what is this week's itinerary? Live race number 3, circuit, 2.4 miles, 2 laps, clear, 100% on road. This week, though, we have a maximum age of a vehicle of 1975. Usual rewards, max RP of 580. Move over to race number 1, a sprint, 2 miles, 100% on road as well. Again, 1975 is the maximum age of a car. Once again, the RP of 580. Same rewards as per usual. And we move over to race number 2, 2.6 miles domination. Again, 1975 max age and 580 RP. So we cannot jump in to the Ferrari F40 this week, unfortunately. But we can jump back in to the Jaguar E-Type. We had a lot of success with the E-Type. Of course, it's not the meta for this kind of category. We already know that. But we don't, in my opinion, always want to go into the meta. We want to try and challenge ourselves. And I do imagine we're very much going to be challenging ourselves in the E-Type. Like we're challenging ourselves right now to even stay on the road. Soaking wet here in Hong Kong. It is unfortunate. We won't get into that one, but we will push forward and we will move into the 3 races that we have been given to us this week. First of all, we will start off with live race number 3. Some very interesting cars we're going up against. We have got that little bug with TDU going into the races with no volume. But the likes of the ACs, some Daytonas, some Mustangs, some Beetles, some good cars in this race. We do look relatively favourable against it. There are no Ford GT40s or Ferrari 280s, which I'm quite happy about. We do clobber the wall on the right hand side there. Going into this race, it does recommend slick tyres. And as you guys can see, there's a lot of standing water on the road surface here, and the back end of the E-Type, very lively indeed. Are our slick tyres the best approach for this one? Probably not. Slick tyres, wet road, those guys don't tend to mix all too well. I believe I do have road tyres, standard tyres fitted to the E-Type. With the way I'm able to handle this one so far, I do think I have got slick tyres fitted at this point. Coming through that turn in particular, they're managing to get the power down in the E-Type. Yeah, I don't think we've got slick tyres fitted right here. We can see there is an AI Alex right on the back end of us right here, so we aren't pulling away from the rest of the pack. Now, being in the E-Type itself, we don't have the meta car, we don't have the power, we don't technically have the handling that the likes of a lot of the American cars, the GT40, the AC, the Daytona, do have over the E-Type. So we are in a bit of a battle with ourselves here, just giving ourselves a bit of a disadvantage being in the E-Type, clattering into walls and stuff, not really helping us. But largely the E-Type, like we know from the previous challenges I did with the E-Type, it is very capable. Of course, it is essentially one of my dream cars. It's obviously one of my dad's dream cars. It's kind of why I'm so attracted to it in British Racing Green with the brown leather interior. Fantastic cars in my opinion. Probably an unpopular opinion, but one of the best looking cars of all time. You guys can let me know if you agree or disagree with that one, as we do lose the back end there, taking a couple of curbs, really losing the back end on the wet road surface that we have here in Hong Kong. Pushing forward with lap 2, relatively unchallenged in race number 1. For me, it's not been the most fantastic of races. The wet road surface here really letting us down. It's quite nice to hear the turbo whine coming off the E-Type, of course, as fitting turbos to this one. Not something I've heard all too often. As we do come down into this little chicane, we don't make the best effort getting through it, but we are largely still in first place. Rounding around the last right-hander, crossing the line, we do take out first place. Not my favourite race that I've done so far, but overall it wasn't too bad. Moving forward to race number 1, I believe, we are up against it. We've got those Ferraris, we've got ACs, we have got Alpines in this race. Quite interested to see, once again, starting off with no volume. We even leave the line here with no volume up until around a few seconds into the race. It is a little bit glitchy, guys. It is very early for this race series going live. Like we can see coming off the line though, was that an AC and a Ferrari really leaving us in the dust. The Alpine coming up the inside, Those two guys, first and second place, getting tied up with one another. We get dragged into it. We do take out a wall. We do have a huge power slide coming around the left-hander there in the E-Type, but we are very much on the back end of Ennis here as we do start to push forward, bringing the rest of the pack with us here. Right-hander, we want to break early, try not clip that wall, but we do kind of get dragged into it as we do try to get on the back of Ennis. That to our detriment, Ennis did pull ahead, outbraking ourselves, not the most fantastic of things to do, but as we start to come down this back straight, we are still in the back of first place. It's not stretching away from us just yet. We have got a couple of little sneaky tricks for this track in particular. Number one, cut across the track here. Just managing to miss the back end of Ennis in first place. They're not wanting to take anybody else out. Number two here, we want to be careful coming through this one. It's very easy to overextend going right there. Waiting just a second, cutting across the track so we can open up the turn, coming up the hill on the right-hander here. Don't want to outbrake ourselves, we don't want to clip that wall on the outside. Just managing to carry up enough speed as we cut across the track here, and we do make a very dirty overtake on first place. You know, bumping uglies, rubbing is racing, as they do say, guys, but we have managed to pull ourselves out here into first place. Now interestingly here, the AI tend to follow the middle of the road and get bogged down on the shrubbery in the middle of the road, as we can see when they come round here. I don't know why they do that. It does slow them down, so it does give us a better chance to, you know, win that race. Number two, or race number one rather, has been my favourite race of this series so far as we push forward to the last race for today. Again, fantastic cars in this race, launching it off the line. We do have slick tyres fitted in this race, and we can see the road surface isn't completely dry. The Ford GT40 really accelerating us off the line, as to be expected. Those things are fantastically fast cars, probably the meta for this category, as we do manage to do a little switchback there, cut down the inside of the GT40, sliding around the right-hander. We want to, the left-hander want to brake nice and early for this right-hander, cut a little bit of the curb there as the AI tangle with each other just behind us. This domination race, we know we have to try and keep our noses in front. We don't want to lose any ground to the AI. Domination race, we know we probably need to cross around about 60% of the checkpoints in first place to be in with the chance of winning. As we do get defensive, trying to keep the GT40 behind us, we're doing a good job of it so far, as it does try to nosedive us or dive bomb us up the left hand side there. We do manage to cut the front end off. Once again, it clattering us in that turn. We do a switchback, cut the inside of the GT40, go defensive, stop right in front of it to slow it from passing us. Crossing another checkpoint in first place, all down this straight though. We have to get defensive. We know we don't have the power of the GT40 or the AC that are behind us. We have to get defensive coming into these turns to keep our noses in front. Cutting across the track just a little bit there, into the right-hander again, being careful not to lose the back end on the very wet road surface. Another right-hander again, getting very careful for putting the power down so we don't lose the back end, unfortunately touching the wall there, but we do manage to get through this right hand and into this left hand, nice and carefully, keeping the AI behind. Once again, we want to be moving across the road here, especially in the E-Type. We don't have the power to outdrag the GT40 and things behind us. We really want to be very careful at this point. A Daytona now sticking its nose up into the inside of the E-Type. Cutting across the track just a little bit here, unfortunately taking out a couple of lampposts, but we do still manage to keep the E-Type in first place. Getting a little bit tangled up there, we do unfortunately now lose first and second place, but we're 83% through this domination, and that should be enough to get us over the line in first place. Just one checkpoint remaining here. We're crossing at 1370 points, so should round out around about 1450 points, and that should be enough to bag us first place once again. And of course, we then complete out this week's Week 2 Classic Car Road Trip, and of course we then are presented with the fantastic Classic Car Road Trip sticker. I'm sure all of you guys are elated to get that one. So that's the roundup of this week's live event. You guys know I'm a big advocate of these being dropped in the game. I do love the live series that are being dropped. Has this been my favourite one? Probably not. I would have liked to have used my Ferrari F40 once again. Fantastic car, so happy to now have that in the game. But equally, the E-Type, one of my favourite cars of all time, one of the best looking cars of all time. Let me know what you guys have decided to choose for this week's live week. What was it, the Classic Car Road Trip, week number 2. Let me know what car you guys did decide to choose. Hope you've enjoyed today's video, guys. Stay tuned for more updates on Test Drive Unlimited. So look around.